Okay, good morning. My name is Anthony Martini. I am a senior Google Workspace consultant with LogicWing. And in this session, we're going to be moving fast and covering a lot of ground today. And we're going to start with a quick introduction to generative AI, and then a review of the free AI features in Google Workspace for Education. And then finally, we're going to dive into the capabilities that you'll have when upgrading to a paid subscription for AI in Workspace that is now called, as of September, Google AI Pro for Education. So we'll begin with an introduction to generative AI within education. I feel like there's been a relentless talk of artificial intelligence literally everywhere. And it's clear that AI is certainly one of the most profound technologies that humans are working on right now. And it maybe the biggest technological shift we've seen in our lifetime, probably even bigger than the internet itself. So we're at an exciting inflection point. And for folks of a certain age, we've lived through quite a bit of transition and transformation when it comes to technology. And AI seems like it could be a greater change than all the things that have come before, whether it's the internet or wireless or social media or the cloud. But before we get into the features in Google Workspace, I want to take a step back and talk about what generative AI actually is. So generative AI is a type of machine learning model. It's not a human being. It can't think for itself. It can't feel emotions. It's just really great at finding patterns. So machine learning models that include generative AI, so machine learning is like the big umbrella, the machine learning space. Generative AI is a type of machine learning. It learns through a process of observation and pattern matching that is called simply training. So for a model to understand, for instance, what a sneaker is, it's trained on millions and millions of photos of sneakers. And over time, it recognizes that sneakers are objects that humans wear on their feet that have laces, soles, logos, etc. Generative AI can be trained on really any type of data, but large language models use words as their main source of training data. And so the AI tools that we use are based on LLMs, or large language models. So in the past, AI was used to understand and recommend information, but now generative AI is really a helpful co-creator, and it can create things like images, music, even code, just with a simple prompt. So it could be a short typed sentence or a few spoken words, depending on the AI tool. So to give some context to this discussion of generative AI in the classroom, the pandemic is still having a lingering negative impact on student learning and outcomes. So, but its ability to streamline tasks and boost engagement, generative AI has the potential to have a huge impact on teachers and their ability to focus on really what's core to what they do, and that's teaching. So I want you to imagine for a moment a world where every learner has their own personalized tutor. Every educator has a really knowledgeable and always available teaching assistant. And every education leader has an assistant that has knowledge on a myriad of topics that might be of interest to them. So as you know, Google, their AI-powered assistant for education is called Gemini. So with Gemini, you have the ability to enable education leaders and educators to save time, speeding up tasks that are not core to their role in their schools or districts, and so they can focus on what matters most. For students, it can help make learning more personal and captivate them with content that's tailored for their particular and specific needs and interests. It can help to inspire creativity, helping you think of fresh ideas and inspiration for new approaches. It can also provide guided support to students so they can learn more confidently, deepening their understanding within the moment assistance, and reinforcing knowledge by creating practice materials and honing work by providing feedback and ideas. So, most importantly to me, and I'm sure to you, it can do all of this while keeping your organizations and personal data private and secure, which I think should be a priority. So, we're going to talk about two of the best secure AI tools that you have access to today at no cost. That is a Gemini for Education and Notebook LM. And of course, Gemini for Education also includes the AI features in Classroom. Before we go any deeper, it's important to note that both tools include enterprise-grade data protection. What that means is they are core workspace services, and data isn't reviewed or used to train any AI models. So your data remains your own. So Gemini and Notebook LM allow you to offer the entire school community best-in-class AI tools that are purpose-built for education while ensuring that your data is protected and admins are in control. So they are no cost, accessible to educators and students around the world if you have Google Workspace for Education. They're grounded in learning science, and they're powered currently by the Gemini 2.5 Pro model, which is enhanced with Google's Learn LLM, which is specifically trained to assist educators and students. And by default, they're providing access to the premium AI models that Google has on offer. Students under 18 are going to get a distinct experience with extra guardrails, right? So most of the students in the K-12 district are obviously under 18, and admins have full control over access and usage of these AI tools. So Gemini can help educators by being a teaching assistant. So it can allow teachers to plan lessons faster, whip up drafts that are aligned to standards, and spark fresh, engaging ideas. And by helping, you can easily adjust course materials and tasks to match individual student needs and interests with the goal of obviously boosting engagement. There's a lot of distractions. And so if you can provide resources and course materials to students that are truly engaging and meet them where they are, hopefully we can keep them focused on what matters most to them, which is learning. And then by quickly creating assessments, assignments, and personalized practice materials for each student, it frees up teachers to spend more time engaging with their students in the classroom. For students, Gemini can be the ultimate tutor. So it's great for helping explain complex topics and helping students get ready for their quizzes and exams with personalized exercises and feedback. And it can also help them improve their writing skills, which is, I think, personally, I find to be super important. And I think writing skills translate to pretty much every industry, every job role that students may find themselves in the future. Even if they're not going to specifically be writing, it helps with the thought processes, especially with problem solving or explaining ideas when collaborating with colleagues or working with clients. And it also do things like give them feedback on their resumes and even generate a mock interview. And then for education leaders, Gemini can be a helpful AI assistant. It can help them streamline their administrative tasks like communications, whether it be writing grant proposals or newsletters or writing parent emails, uh, document management. So it can help them summarize long documents, analyze data in spreadsheets, and even create templates that they can share with the school community. It can help them with research, so they can quickly get through academic papers. It can help them with refining ideas, and then again, assist with the writing process. Essentially, it helps leaders focus on strategy and high impact initiatives rather than on paperwork, because we know everybody loves paperwork. So everything so far that we've talked about is a no cost for any Google Workspace for Education customer. So now we're going to transition to covering Google Workspace with Gemini, which is part of the premium AI solution for education, and that is a paid offering. So Google Workspace with Gemini brings together the power of Gemini with the collaboration and productivity benefits that you're already utilizing in Google Workspace. So it embeds Gemini in the Workspace apps that you're already using, like Docs, Gmail, Slides, and other tools. It also provides an expanded access to premium models and features in Gemini for Education and Notebook LM. Gemini with Workspace meets you where you are already doing your work. And so it's basically a lever to unlock more productivity. So whether you're utilizing Gemini and Docs to create a job description or a lesson plan that your co-authors can collaborate on together, or using Gemini and Gmail to summarize a long email thread, or Gemini and Slides to create an original image that helps illustrate a topic or bring a presentation to life. Those are all really powerful applications of generative AI within Google Workspace. These tools are available to your users who are 18 and older. So generally speaking, when we're talking about the paid features in Google Workspace for Education's AI capabilities, we're talking about, your adults. And remember, your students are still going to have access to the free AI features, and that is, gemini.google.com, and also some of the AI features in Classroom. And they still have the ability to utilize those tools, but they just won't be embedded in Gmail, Docs, Sheets, Slides, etc. So Gemini and Workspace can really unlock the power of your Google Drive files. If you're like me, you have, at this point, after many years of using Google Workspace, tens of thousands of files, whether it's things I've created, things I've uploaded into Google Drive, or content that's been shared with me. So you can save a tremendous amount of time by quickly summarizing long documents, and it can help you brainstorm new ideas or draft content based on your Drive files. The great thing about it is that there's a side panel built into the applications like Drive and Docs. So there's no need to jump to another tab or to open up another app. Gemini is going to be right there on the right side of the screen inside the apps that you're already using. In addition, it's going to suggest prompts to help you get started, or it's going to give you a quick summary of what you're looking at. And that's so you can keep focused and get things done faster. So I think we've all suffered with blank page syndrome. Staring at a blank page when you're trying to come up with some ideas can be pretty intimidating. But with Gemini and Docs, now you have the ability to go from zero to a complete doc in minutes. And you can even create templates for others to customize with their own content. So if, let's say, you need to create a newsletter for your school community, you can just give Gemini a prompt, or even upload files that you've already created previously from your own Drive, and then it can draft a newsletter for you, obviously saving you valuable time and just helping you with the creative aspect of creating content. In Gmail, I'm sure we've all been part of, extremely long email threads that go on for sometimes weeks, sometimes more. And it can be really difficult to kind of get the idea of what's going on as people basically have a conversation back and forth via email. So Gemini and Gmail can help you by summarizing a really long email thread. And then you also have the ability to draft emails. So within Gmail itself, you have the ability to click on the Help Me Write button, and you can start with an idea and then have Gemini give some suggestions on how to either change the tone of voice to fit your audience for the email, or fix a grammatical error or two, or even have some smart suggestions. I think we're all aware how powerful video has become in our society. Whether we're talking about TikTok or YouTube, video is has tremendous impact on how we learn, how we receive information, and the problem is they are powerful, but they're also can be difficult to create. So unless you're a practice creator and you create videos all the time, which most of us don't, it's helpful to have an assistant. And Gemini um, is embedded in a new tool called Vids, and it can generate an entire storyboard from a simple text prompt, which would include suggested scenes, a script, stocked videos, and even background music. And it can also generate unique images and videos with sound from just a prompt. And then you can have the ability to tweak them to look exactly how you want. And then lastly, if your video needs a narrator and you're either not interested in narrating or you wanted to have a certain sound, you can choose from a selection of preset voices. So it lowers the barrier to entry to creating video content and makes it available to more people in your organization. And if you haven't played around with Vids yet, it's a really fun tool. With Gemini and Forms, users can craft a form by entering a text prompt that describes the form they want to create, or a prompt that references, a supporting resource like a doc, sheet, slide, or PDF. Gemini will then generate a draft form that will incorporate the details from any of the files that you're referencing that you can instantly use or further customize. You can see the power of that to help teachers when they're trying to create quick assessments for their students. In Sheets, Gemini and Forms can help streamline data analysis and project planning. It can create charts, graphs, and tables, as well as formulas based on a simple text prompt. So even if you're not a Sheets expert, uh, Gemini is a genius assistant when it comes to, let's say, creating a formula that's you're looking to, output a certain data or create a table that illustrates the content of a spreadsheet. Um, you no longer have to dig through the Google Workspace help website. You can just type a prompt into Gemini, and it will, using natural language, you'll be able to ask exactly for what you need. So ever since Gemini and Meet launched, it's been a huge game changer for me. So rather than having to like frantically take notes when I'm trying to engage in discussion, so my attention is split between writing or typing something and also listening to the folks that I'm on the call with. Now I can be 100% present and focused because Gemini can take the notes for me. In addition, there's real-time translation in the form of captions in Google Meet, which transcends language barriers and creates a more inclusive classroom. Additionally, Google AI Pro in Meet can generate a custom background based on a prompt. So if you've used Google Meet and the backgrounds, there's a number of pre-created backgrounds that you can take advantage of in Google Meet. But with AI Pro, you can actually prompt for a custom background that'll be completely unique to you and your use case. It also gives you the ability to improve your video quality with AI with Studio Look that will enhance sound and lighting, basically simulate a professional production environment. And in order to communicate in a way that's most impactful, you can avoid distortion and feedback when you're in the same space with multiple computers or devices that are on the same meeting using adaptive audio. So Gemini in Meet will understand that there's more than one person in a conference room who may all be in the meeting on their own separate devices, and it will basically enable the microphone closest to the speaker and disable the microphones of people that are further away, so you don't get that feedback that's disruptive to a meeting. So have you ever said, imagine this, and went on to describe your vision at length? And went on to describe your vision at length? With Gemini and slides, you can show what you mean by generating a custom image based on your words. And I know I've used this extensively in creating presentations. Sometimes you could do a search and maybe you'll find an image that is somewhat aligned to your vision or what you're trying to illustrate. But with, generative AI and being able to create custom images based on a prompt, you can get nearly exactly what you're looking for. So you can get your point across. And we all know that, images can say way more than a few words might be able to. You can also generate entire slides based on a text prompt, including the option to tag files from your Google Drive. And that should definitely help you save some valuable time. And I've used this feature extensively, the ability to remove image backgrounds with a single click. So without having to use an external photo or image editing software, you can just click on an image and AI will remove the background from it. So we can actually have, and we may do an entire webinar just based on the features of Gemini in Classroom. And there's a number of no-cost tools that are available right now to any Google Workspace for Education customer. But there are some premium features with the paid offering that can save teachers even more time. So they can easily generate presentations or an audio lesson, or even reading stories where they work, which frees up time for them to focus on their students. So in addition to embedding Gemini in the Workspace apps, the paid offering also gives you the expanded access to premium models and features in the Gemini app, and that's gemini.google.com. You'll get higher limits of usage with 2.5 Pro, which is the current best model that Google offers with Workspace. And you also get more deep research reports and audio overviews in Notebook LM. And if you haven't used audio overviews in Notebook LM, right after this webinar, give it a try. It's an amazing tool. It's one of my favorite AI-based tools that Google currently offers. And it's as simple as providing Notebook LM with a number of resources, and those can be PDFs, block of text, websites, YouTube videos, Google Docs, and then you can ask Notebook LM to create an audio overview of all those resources, and it basically creates a podcast with two hosts, male and a female. They are not real people, even though they sound remarkably like two real people, and they have a discussion about the content that you've shared with Notebook LM, and you can also ask questions. So you can kind of interrupt them as they're having their discussion and ask a question, and they'll do their best to answer it. It's pretty wild, and it's an amazing tool. So the pro version of Gemini has a 1 million token context window, excuse me, and you can upload up to 1,500 pages of documents and spreadsheets that Gemini can then understand, analyze, and summarize for you, which I think should satisfy the vast majority of use cases in education. In Notebook LM, like I mentioned, you're going to get more audio overviews. You'll have more notebooks, so you can create more notebooks, more queries, and more sources in each notebook. You also will have advanced sharing features. So teachers can have a chat-only notebook where they can share a notebook with their students. All the students can do is chat with the notebook. They can't see or edit any of the underlying sources. There's also the ability to customize the chat feature so that you ensure the AI is always providing feedback and explanations in the most effective way for your students. That'll make the learning experience truly personalized to help students hit specific learning goals. And then lastly, you'll have notebook analytics, which will give you insight of how students are engaging with shared notebooks. For our Google Workspace admins out there, there is AI classification of Drive content. So you can automatically label your organization's sensitive content in Google Drive using custom AI models. your organization trains without any need for programming. So you don't need to be a machine learning engineer. And then you can control which data your models train on. So each model is going to be unique, but can only be used by your organization. And then you can use those AI classified files in different security policies like data loss protection rules, Google Vault, and more. In chat, you can use Gemini to show summaries for read and unread conversations that include your one-to-one direct messages, your group direct messages, spaces, and threads. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about the difference between the free and paid tools and where they're appropriate. So first, we'll talk about cost. So as of September, there used to be two different offerings. There was Gemini Education and Gemini Education Premium. Google's now combined those two offerings into a single offering called Google AI Pro for Education. And that AI Pro add-on is going to offer everything that was previously available in those two different subscriptions at the price of the cheaper of the two solutions, $20 per user per month annually. So now, if you're looking for these pro features, it's Google AI Pro for Education. So I know this is somewhat of an eye chart. No need to squint. It's just a summary of what we've just talked about. And it's a breakdown between your included AI features and the paid for features. So as a recap, every tool that we discussed, whether it's no cost or a paid tool, are core services now with data protection. So they're completely covered by your existing terms of service with Google. And this is just the beginning. The features and capabilities of Gemini are going to continue to improve, and they'll definitely expand as Google creates and trains new, more advanced models, much the same way that Google Workspace has continued to grow and change over the years. A Google AI Pro for Education subscription is going to return more value over time. Now, whether or not this is appropriate for your use cases or your school community ultimately is up to you, but I think it can supercharge the time-saving abilities of your teachers and your education leaders, and provide, a sleepless, all-knowing tutor for your students. And so, if you're interested in purchasing a Google AI Pro for Education subscription, or if you just want to talk more about it and learn more about how it works, get a more in-depth demo, because obviously today I don't have time for hands-on demos, but if you'd like a more hands-on demo of those tools, send us an email at info@logicwing.com and we will schedule a meeting with you to discuss your specific scenario. So thank you again for coming today, and I hope that you were able to get some actionable information from this session. And I look forward to seeing you again soon. We'll talk more about Google Workspace. Have a great day.